Welcome to HBCU 101.
I had all them no's, but I got that one I didn't give up.
Salmon's in the building.
Drum major for Morehouse's House of Funk.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jahliel Thurman. HBCU 101 is a show that will take you all over the nation, giving you the ins and outs of HBCUs with a little taste of the HBCU flavor. On today's episode, we are joined by an HBCU alum that just so happens to be one of the world's most iconic television hosts. But before we dive into that, let's check out our HBCU news and see what's buzzing in our community with Mr. Tyler Carr.
Hey, HBCU alum, iconic host, I'm here, baby. Yeah. I'm here, but I got a feeling I'm not the guy you're talking about.
Nah, not today, not today.
All right, it is an Aggie, spoiler alert, and we do have some Aggie news for you today. Talking about North Carolina A&T, man, they are fast. How fast, you ask? Man, they are fast. And who are they? We're talking about the indoor track and field team in North Carolina A&T, currently ranked number 2 in the country. Not number 2 HBCU, number 2 of all Division I track programs in the country right now, according to the United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association. Who's the speedster on the team? Well, let's start with Randolph Ross. He's third in the nation in the men's 200 and 400 meters, and he and his teammates ranked number 1, numero uno in the country in the 4x400. Whew. Like I said, that's fast. Let's quickly now get back over to Jahliel Thurman and HBCU 101.
Those that went to college with him know him for being one of the voices on the radio, while the world fell in love with him when he became one of the most iconic hosts to hit the TV screen on BET's 106 in Park. HBCU 101 would like to welcome North Carolina A&T State University alum, actor, producer, philanthropist, author, host, and of course, one of my idols, Mr. Terrance J.
Yo,
Terrance,
what's good,
welcome
baby?
to the
How
show.
you doing, man?
What's going on, Terrance? Terrance, how you feeling? Welcome to HBCU 101, my guy.
I appreciate it, man. I love this show. I love what you've been doing. I think you're a tremendous talent, and I appreciate you having me.
Nah, the pleasure's all mine. The pleasure is all mine. But let's get to the HBCUs. Let's talk HBCUs. Today, an 18-year-old might choose A&T because it's known as the greatest homecoming on earth. It has the largest population, the elite football program, and even some of the dope programs like the nursing program or engineering program of that nature. But an 18-year-old Terrance J didn't have all of these things going on at A&T. Why did you choose North Carolina A&T?
You know, homecoming, we weren't going with the GHO acronym back then, but homecoming at A&T it's always been incredible. That was the first time I was on campus. I had a friend that lived in Greensboro, and I went to homecoming, and I think I was in high school, and I was just blown away by just seeing us, you know, in our beautiful blackness. It was the most black people I had ever been around, and you know, the music, the food, everything about it was incredible. But my decision to go to A&T came out of necessity. You know, my mom really wanted me to go to college. I had struggled academically in high school, and I had applied to a few different schools, Carolina, NC State, and I got declined. You know, I probably applied to like 5 schools. I got declined. It was A&T that gave me an opportunity. They gave me a chance, and I started off on academic probation. So if it weren't for them giving me that opportunity and that chance, I probably never even went to college. I probably would have just started working in radio or doing something, but they took a chance on me, and that's why I'm always advocating, a big advocate for HBCUs to this day, because they give an opportunity to so many young people, such as myself, that can be life-changing opportunity.
Nah, definitely. And you took that chance and ran with it. I mean, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, SGA president, still doing your thing on the radio, hosting parties, being involved. What was that experience like for you?
I think when you're, especially when you're young and you're hungry and you're full of energy, when you say these things now, it seemed like so much, but every day I would just wake up and, do what I was passionate about, I couldn't afford to get into the nightclubs. So I started out by passing out flyers, and then that led to me getting an opportunity on the radio station. And that led to me, hosting parties and DJing, and, one thing would lead to the next. And I always just tell people, do what you love, do what you're passionate about, do what somebody wouldn't have to pay you to do. And that's what I've done my entire career. Every day I wake up, I do what I'm interested in and what I'm passionate about. And I'm just lucky I've been able to make a living doing it for the past 20-something years.
Now, was TV hosting always an interest of yours? You were in radio, but today you're a TV host. DJ Envy, DJ Trauma, they both got started really heavily in college. Did A&T give you the confidence that you needed in order to be a TV host that you are today?
Today information is easier to come across, right? Like if you wanted to learn about anybody's career, you can Google it. You can look at a masterclass. You can see their TED Talks. You can go on YouTube. There's a bunch of different speeches on people talking. Back in 2000, this is, before Facebook, right? Right. And so when I started college, there weren't a bunch of Oprah Winfrey speeches hanging around that were accessible. It wasn't like you could get cassette tapes of Will Smith talking about how he broke into the industry. Yeah. So, at that time, it was just like, I know that I enjoy watching TV. I know that, I like talking and I like communicating with people, but it wasn't as structured. I didn't have, it wasn't a blueprint. It was literally like, what are things that I enjoy doing? And I had a teacher when I was in middle school tell me, I was kind of a class clown. She was like, look, either your big mouth's going to get you in jail or it's going to put you on TV. And I always wanted it to be the latter, not the former. So I just wanted to do things that I felt were fun. And like I said earlier, man, that's how I made my whole career is just doing things that I was passionate about.
Yeah. Now, speaking of your career, speaking of passion, your passion calls for you to take the ultimate leap of faith after graduation from Florida to New York. But we won't talk about that right now. We'll talk about that when we return from the break. It's Terrance J. It's Jahliel. It's HBCU 101. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jahliel Thurman. I'm joined by North Carolina A&T State University alum, Mr. Terrence J. Now, Terrence, it's time for a little HBCU trivia.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, it's the year 2000. What HBCU had more African-American medical applicants than Johns Hopkins, Harvard, and the University of Maryland combined? Was it Howard University? Was it FAMU? Was it Morehouse College or Xavier of Louisiana?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I don't know anything about the medical field. I'm gonna go with, I know Will Packer's been on this show. I'm gonna go with FAMU. Maybe you gave a toss to FAMU. I have no idea.
Nah, it's not FAM. It's actually Xavier of Louisiana, one of the top premier medical programs, and they outshined the Ivy Leagues and PWIs that year. So that's that. Now,
so I will put that into my Black History Month fun facts trivia compartment.
Definitely. Now let's go back to 2005. You're living in Florida, working for NASCAR, and you decide to take the ultimate leap of faith. You fly to New York to audition for BET's 106 & Park. But your audition, you didn't feel comfortable with it. So you decided to drive down to Atlanta and audition again. Why? What was the thought process? What was going through your mind?
You know, when you say something years later, a lot of times it can seem as if, oh man, that person had, the instinct and they had the insight and the wherewithal to do things. But at the time, man, I was broke. I was living out of my, car, sleeping on friends' couches. I had a bunch of student loan that had accumulated. So even though I had this job, I wasn't really able to pay my bills yet. And so when I got told no in New York for the first round of auditions, literally I just knew that they were doing the auditions the day after in Atlanta. And from there, they went from Atlanta to Houston to LA. I knew there were more auditions. I think Chicago was a stop as well. And so literally, I just drove down to the next audition with my boy. And, there was somebody that was in line, like right in front of me, and they got to the next round of the auditions. And I kind of said to myself, man, if a person that close standing right next to me could make it to the next round, I at least should be able to make it to the next round. Right. So that was kind of my goal, was just let me just make it to the next round of the audition, just so I feel better about myself. But it was just kind of a road trip. We was like, oh, let's just go to the next round. And so when I went to that next audition, I knew what to expect. I was prepared because I already had the script and everything from the first round of auditions. And the fear was gone because it was like, all right, I already got told no once. You tell me no again, you can't shoot me twice, right? I'm already dead.
Right.
So it was literally just that, getting over that word no. And that was really what triggered in my mind after I got this opportunity, was that whenever you hear the word no, it's just, one step closer to getting yes. And that's why now, whatever it is that I want to accomplish, I know that, the only person that's stopping you from getting it is you. So you just got to keep on going.
Perseverance and resiliency. I mean, that's what it's all about. What was that feeling, that emotion that you felt when you were told that you were now going to be one of the co-hosts for 106 & Park?
I was thrilled. I was really excited about it. Stephen Hill, who was the EVP at the time, called Roxy and I. We were on three-way, and he broke the news to us. And I was really excited about it. Really enthusiastic about it. But, the moment you got the job, it was a lot of work. Everything in your life changed. So there wasn't a lot of time to be like, oh my God, this is it. Because it was like the next week, you're back in New York and I'm getting my first apartment. I'm getting, my first credit card. I'm in hair and makeup chairs. And then, my first week of interviews is like Janet Jackson and Busta Rhymes. So it was like, you just get thrown into the lion's den. And, we started hosting the show after two iconic people. And so, it was a whirlwind. So now in retrospect, I look back and it was a great opportunity. But at the time, it was all just like, man, I'm just happy to have a meal,
Coming up next on HBCU 101.
My stepdad watches a ton of films, and he's always saying there's no good movies. And so I always, try to find the right scripts and produce the right stories. I'm starring in one that Deion Taylor directed. Me and T.I. are in it.
It's time now for Did You Know? Brought to you by HBCU Pride Nation. Tuskegee University is the only HBCU in the country to be listed as a National Historic Site.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jahliel Thurman, and I'm joined by North Carolina A&T's finest, Mr. Terrance J. Now, Terrance J, let's talk about your career. Over the years, it's been able to really transcend into something amazing. I mean, from hosting BET's 106 & Park to E! News to acting and think like a man, to becoming a writer, an author, to now producing and acting in the perfect match and still being relevant today? I mean, what has that growth been like for you, that journey, that transition?
Again, I think it all comes down to passion and doing things that you love and doing things that you wake up and you're passionate about. I remember reading an interview that actor John Travolta was getting his piloting license because he had enough hours that he can fly literally a American Airlines flight if he wanted because he was so into flying. And I was looking, I was like, man, he's an actor. What is he doing spending so much time? But the older you get, the more you get interested in different things and you want to pursue those things. And life isn't some linear journey. It doesn't have to be some linear journey where you clock in every day on one thing. You know, it's important to keep yourself motivated and do things that you're passionate about. So for me, you know, acting is something that I love doing and hosting is something that I love doing. And, you know, right now I'm into real estate a lot. Like I've been, you know, purchasing land and houses and, you know, just doing real estate and just enjoying the pandemic and enjoying the time of not having to be on set every single day. But again, for me, I just always tell people, wake up and go after what you love. This is your only life. And I watched my mom have me at a young age and be, you know, a young mother and still accomplish her goals. I've seen people with different disabilities and handicaps still go after their goals. I just think that no matter what life throws you, it's up to you to take it and make the best out of it and go after your goals no matter what.
Terrance J, where do you see yourself over the next couple of years? What are some of your goals that you hope to achieve in your career?
You know, probably more in films. I love telling stories. My stepdad watches a ton of films. And he's always saying, there's no good movies. And so I always, you know, try to find the right scripts and produce the right stories. I'm starring in one that Deion Taylor directed. Me and T.I. are in it. It's a horror movie that I'm really excited about. So we'll probably release that like second quarter of this year. And I'm working on an HBCU project that I'm really passionate about as well. But for me, man, it's telling good stories. It's, you know, entertaining people and making connections with people. And I'm just at a place where it's about giving back, you know. That's the biggest thing on my list is how can I use my platform to help others, to give back to others, to put others in a better position than I was, you know, when I was their age. And that's really it, man. And that's why I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing, man. You know, you're on the grind, you're on the hustle. I see it. And, you know, doing interviews like this is something that I love doing because I can see the hunger in you. And, you know, anything that I could do to help you along the way, I got you.
No, I really appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you, you know, being in this shoes. You've been here before and to have a mentor or someone that you idolize that is willing to lift as they climb, as we would say, is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now, before we let you go, we always play a game called I Got 5 on it. Now, I Got 5 on it is this or that, and what you choose who or what you have 5 on, all right? Let's go fantasy football points in their prime. Are you choosing Michael Strahan or Shannon Sharp?
To get me more points?
Yeah, like on fantasy points.
Yeah, okay, fantasy point. You know, that's a tough one, but you know what? I'm a Giants fan, so I'm gonna go with Strahan. I'm gonna go with Strahan on that one.
Let's talk DJs. You've been with a few of them. DJ Envy or DJ Trauma?
Ooh, you said trauma or drama?
Trauma.
So, you know, Trauma is nasty. Like, Trauma is just one of those guys who shuts it down. I've done a ton of parties with Trauma. He's incredible. But Envy is like my real estate mentor. And so like literally me and Envy talk a lot. Like Envy's like super into real estate and cars and a lot of things. So I have a lot of conversations. So I got to go with Envy just because that's my brother. But both of them are incredible DJs. They both nasty.
And now, before we let you go, please let the people know how they can keep up with you and what you have going on next, your social media handles, all that good stuff.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Check me out on IG at Terrance J. I think it's the same on Facebook and Twitter as well at Terrance J. Everything is simple. And yeah, man, next movie coming out is called Don't Fear. Check me out on my IG lives. I'm doing some fun stuff in the month of February. And I mean, you guys know me. I'll always drop a project. There'll be a project in a couple months. So I look forward to seeing you guys back on the big screen and the small screen and all screens in between.
Terrance J, I want to say thank you. It means a lot to have you as a guest on the show. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. It's Jahliel. It's Terrance J. You all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Once again, it's your HBCU Wall Street 101s. February, Black History Month, of course. A little knowledge for you. In 2015, at the age of 22 years old, Jalal A. Hayes became the youngest PhD in applied chemistry in America from Delaware State University.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back, everyone. Time for the Wear Brims Spotlight, shining a light on Muhammad A. Ba, an alum of Virginia State University. His company is Bodied by Ba LLC. It's a top quality fitness company specializing in developing a functional body, a healthy immune system, which we all could use right now, and longevity. You can follow him on IG at Bodied by Ba. If you missed any part of today's episode, don't worry. You can always catch this and all episodes at hbcu101.com. Click on episodes at the top of the homepage and scroll through to catch anything you've missed over the past 3 seasons. We'll see you right back here next week.
I say thank you for joining the show. It's definitely been a pleasure to have you. For those that are out there watching, I don't say stuff like that.
So Aggie fans, not only will we sorry about that. Do that again.